You're listening to Protecting What Matters, a podcast by the Ohio Department of Commerce. Commerce is Ohio's chief regulator, and we play a vital role in keeping you safe by protecting your property, your money, and some of the products you use every day. This podcast is designed to bring awareness to important issues and help educate consumers and businesses. Join us as we chat with trusted industry experts focused on providing you with the tools you need to help you protect what matters most in your life.
It becomes easier because it's just what we do all the time. It's not just during Alcohol Awareness Month. It's not just during certain times, it's alcohol awareness every day.
I'm Michaela Hunt with the Ohio Department of Commerce. As partners in the sale of spirits, OHLQ has a serious obligation to advocate for responsible consumption. OHLQ works to provide all of us with information and resources regarding the dangers of overconsumption and substance abuse, and to partner with our communities to keep our kids safe through education and programming created to prevent underage drinking and access to alcohol, among many other initiatives. Today, we're going to talk about how those resources can make a major difference in your everyday life. We're pleased to have OHLQ Director of Brand and Marketing Strategy, Kristen Castle, join us, along with a special guest. Kristen, great to see you.
Thank you, Michaela. Thanks for having me. And I am very pleased to be joined with my friend and special guest, Brian Hoyt. He is the Director of Corporate Social Responsibility for Ohio Liquor.
Fantastic. I know Kristen and Brian very well. You guys are going to get to know them over the course of this conversation as well. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So how did this advocacy for responsible consumption really take center stage? It's something I think the public is, we're learning about.
So I think, Michaela, it's always been on center stage, but we now have new ways of sharing resources and information with consumers. So recently we upgraded our ohlq.com website, which provided a platform to house resources, information on social responsibility, mocktail recipes, all these different great things in that social responsibility world that we could share with consumers where they are. We also launched a new content marketing service email program where consumers can sign up and receive OHLQ news directly into their inbox with those same resources, mocktails, anything that we have in that world, we can communicate with them that way, as well as an enhanced social media presence. We recently joined Instagram, which provided another avenue for mocktail recipes and things like that. So always been on center stage, just enhanced ways of sharing the information.
Well, and it's really at the center of what you do. I mean, you guys have talked to me about your license to operate,
That's
if
right.
you will. So Brian, talk to me a little bit about that.
No, Michaela, you're right. That's in the spirits industry. That's what we say. Social responsibility is our license to operate. And in a lot of ways, being a 3-tier state, we understand that if we own the harm, we should be also own part of the solution. So what's really a great opportunity with Ohio Liquor, OHLQ being that public-private partnership, being that unique model, we're able to bring a lot of resources together that maybe others might not be able to. So with the state of Ohio, we partner with Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services, Recovery Ohio, a lot of initiatives that the governor's office has. Having that and being able to connect with our consumers, as Kristen said, but also on the private side, able to connect with associations, businesses, and having that platform to really bring everyone together. We often say we're not the experts in recovery. We're not the experts in prevention, but we've got a unique platform and we've got a way that people can work together. So we always talk in terms of we want to elevate and amplify the information to our consumers. And as Kristen said, meet people where they are.
You guys definitely have the partnerships to elevate and amplify. And, we see it in action. Those listening might not have seen all of it in action yet. So give me an example or two of what it looks like on a regular basis in your relationships and how that work ultimately benefits consumers and families and, communities.
Sure. So I think it's important to note that we have taken the approach that social responsibility is just a part of who we are. It is a part of our DNA. It is woven into every aspect of what we do. So it becomes easier because it's just what we do all the time. It's not just during Alcohol Awareness Month. It's not just during certain times. It's alcohol awareness every day. And so making sure, as Brian said, with those relationships with Recovery Ohio and Mental Health and Addiction Services, being very cognizant of the fact that we are not the experts. So any content we generate and promote, we share with those partners to make sure the tone is appropriate, the message is appropriate, because we want to make sure we get it right. And I think that we have done a great job, and it's just a natural partnership that makes sense. And it's just become part of our everyday work and how we operate.
Is there a specific responsibility statement? Have we covered that already, or is there something that specifically that you say that people will be familiar with or are starting to get familiar with?
There is, and a lot of people see on TV of drink responsibly or any type of those kind of messages. It always seem to be that, oh, by the way. And so we did a little research. We talked to folks. We got some feedback, and where we came from it was we felt like a term like that emphasized the drink responsibly, right? And it's all about drinking. So what we end up crafting is our responsibility statement, if you will, is raise a glass responsibly. And raise a glass responsibly is great because it's a little more inclusive, because you can raise a glass with or without alcohol. You can raise a glass to anything. You can raise a glass to maybe a new job, or maybe you can raise a glass to a certain holiday or getting together with family. But it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to drink alcohol. But on the other hand, it really emphasizes that responsibly and the responsibility part, and making it a little more approachable, and again, not a in the rearview mirror or by the way or a check off in the box. It really is what we like to lead with, and having a branded type of message makes it comfortable, makes it familiar, and I think it keeps it in the forefront of our minds. So anytime we are working on content or we're looking at new opportunities or maybe new brands coming into the state, we're asking those questions. How does that fit with our ethos, with our DNA? Does it align with that? Or is that going to stand away with it? So again, maybe some people might see it just as a slogan, but I think by having that, it brings the forefront, and people then ask about it and say, why do you say it differently? Because it matters to us.
Well, and I know that I can put a mocktail in that glass, to your point, or putting, something great, a mixer with great bourbon, whatnot, or maybe bourbon just by itself. I am not a bourbon drinker, I will say that. I know a lot of people are.
A lot of people are.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are.
A lot of enthusiasts.
So let's talk a little bit more about these mocktail recipes. Where can people go to get those? I think that's a good entry point for us, since we're talking about raising that glass and what you put in the glass.
Sure. So as I mentioned, on our website, we have a ton of mocktail recipes. We have a lot of cocktail recipes, but I'm very proud of our team in developing those mocktail recipes. As Brian said, it's important to be inclusive, and it's important to make people feel that if they can't or choose not to drink, that they are still a part of the conversation. Again, Instagram, it lends itself to showcase those mocktail recipes and the beautiful photography that goes along with it. And then we also use our 42 Plus magazine to highlight and feature mocktail recipes for those that would be interested.
Where can people get the 42 Plus magazine?
So all of our contract liquor agencies do have copies of those quarterly magazines right there in the store for consumers to pick up, but it's also online and posted every quarter as well.
Let's talk a little bit more about some of the videos you guys have done too, featuring local bartenders. Brian, tell me what those mean to this whole thought of raising a glass responsibly, and really the social responsibility core that you guys have.
Thank you for asking that. We're really excited. On the website, you'll see that we've released during April, during Alcohol Awareness Month, we released a video where we went around the state and we talked to some bar and restaurant owners and asked them the question, what does responsibility mean to you? And then let that conversation happen. And it's really insightful, because I think it really shows that bar owners and business owners, they're Ohio business owners, right? So they want to take care of their customers. They want to do the right thing. They also care about their business reputation. So it was a great conversation to hear them say that we're not in the business of just pushing liquor. We want to create welcoming environments that for those who drink, who don't drink, and some of the things that they do to look out for their customers, look out for their guests, and their great tips. So for us, it was really nice to have conversations from those who know, right, who are there working with customers, but also to be able to feature some of the great local businesses around Ohio was really, really special for us because most of your bars and restaurants are small businesses, and overwhelming businesses in Ohio are small businesses. So I think for us to be able to elevate and amplify again their story and show them that this matters to us, it's good at keeping that conversation going and elevating it and showing that it's not just not talk, that it's something we all care about.
Right, not just words.
Right.
With it, you also have this virtual bar app, which I find really interesting, Kristen. And those of you listening can find this. So tell us a little bit about this and how we can use it.
Sure. So the virtual bar app will actually kind of calculate, depending on gender, weight, all of those things, what the impact of alcohol will have on you as an individual. And so it was really an eye-opening kind of experience. And so I think that is something that resource was important to highlight and feature on our website as a resource for folks.
Because you're always not sure. I mean, I think all of us have been there who do drink alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
When you're buzzed, what that actually means to your weight, your height, and all of those things. Where are you kind of on the spectrum of am I over a limit that I should be concerned about? And I feel like that's what that virtual bar app does. It gives you a better idea of how many you can have prior to that moment.
Yes, because I think we all, people think this is all, I can handle this or I can handle that. And in reality, you may not.
We think probably can handle more than what we actually can physically.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, and to make a tie to it, I think we can tie a little bit and lean on our friends with the state fire marshal, where they talk about safety starts with prevention. And a tool like that is to help you plan ahead, is to set expectations, to make sure that you don't get yourself in a situation that you shouldn't be in, and plan for either that event or the night out or what have you. Same as what's your plan for transportation? What are you going to do if you're going to go out? How are you going to get home? How are you going to get there? Make a plan beforehand. Know what you're going to do before you get into a situation or a problem, and you'll be able to avoid a lot of situations. So the virtual bar is just one of those tools that helps you plan your event, plan your night, plan whatever. Or maybe if you just don't know and you want to get smarter on what are the impacts of alcohol, this helps you do that. And it's science-based, and it's from our friends over at recovery.org.
Now, 42 plus, I want to go back there for a second, because beyond even a little bit of what we talked about before when it comes to mocktails, there's so many other articles that have to do with community and that provide resources. Can you guys give me some examples of some other types of articles you featured lately?
Sure. We recently featured the state's new Beat the Stigma campaign. I know there's been some promotional ads on television, but we really thought that was a great piece of information to share with folks, with our consumers who are parents, just to show them kind of this is the work that's being done in this space. So we had the Beat the Stigma campaign, and then some other resources. We've relied on our partners at responsibly.org, talking with your children about the impact of alcohol and how to even broach that conversation. You don't want to think that that's something you're ever going to have to talk to your children about, especially at an early age. But we have to have the conversation. It has to happen because it's important. So those are a few of the ones that we've highlighted recently. But we've, again, any resources we can find from our partners at Discus, mental health and addiction services, we're so happy to be able to share them on our OHLQ page.
So that was one of kind of, as we start to think about wrapping some of this up, that's one of my questions. For our friends and family, there's so many resources. Where is our best entry point? Where can we go to see what resources are there and what we need?
On the website, on ohlq.com, we have a section we call OHLQ cares. And there's also great information. The virtual bar is there. There's some of those articles you talked about before, but also we have a list of resources. We can't say it enough. We are not the experts. We are not the educators, but we have a great opportunity to connect those who are interested. Maybe they need a little help. Maybe they know someone who could use a little help. And we've got everything from Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services, resources from recovery.org, Responsibly.org, Recovery Ohio, and more there. So we welcome people to visit that website. And, because it's interesting, when we started building all of that out, we met with all these organizations and we were up front and said, hey, we're Ohio Liquor. Does it seem odd? Is it a little disingenuous for us to talk about it? And to a T, every one of them said, no, you guys have a great opportunity. You're meeting where people are. It's not preachy. It's a little less in people's faces. And maybe that's the connection that happens that gets someone the information that they may not have otherwise had a connection to. So
that makes so much sense.
So for us, that's a win, and we're excited about it because, again, as Kristen said, it is part of our DNA.
So what's next? I mean, I'm sure you have other plans in the future. Can you sample anything for us today in terms of other plans that you have that are kind of coming around the bend?
Ohio Liquor being that unique public-private partnership, as I mentioned before, brings us opportunities. One of those opportunities is that we are an official partner with Responsibly.org, and I believe maybe the only state that is. So we got a seat at the table, and they've got some amazing programs that they're rolling out this fall that are going to be low cost, no cost to local communities that we'll be able to be a conduit for. That just recently had a conversation with them because they're rolling out in the fall, and of course, we're at that table and we said Ohio wants to be part of that. If it's a pilot program or if it's tried and true, what can we bring to Ohio that we either reduce, eliminate the harms of alcohol, whether it be underage drinking and driving, or those kind of things. So we're excited. There's a lot coming, but for us, I think with the work we're doing and trying to be as best we could thought leaders, it gets us that seat at the table. And it's Ohio, so we're always willing to be at the forefront of anything that's going to help people live happier and safer lives in Ohio.
We're innovators and connectors.
Absolutely.
In everything that we do. Kristen and Brian, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation today. Very enlightening.
All right, thank you.
And if you want more information about any of the resources we were talking about today, again, go to ohlq.com and look for the OHLQ Cares section. Again, that's ohlq.com under the OHLQ Cares section. We will talk to you next time here on Protecting What Matters.